In the chaotic surge of indie horror games that have filled Steam's marketplace over the past decade, few have managed to carve out a cultural niche like Phasmophobia. Released in early access in 2020, the game exploded onto the scene, with the quiet intensity of a spirit lurking just out of sight. No flashy marketing campaign, no AAA publisher backing, and no celebrity endorsements. Just a humble 4-player co-op ghost hunting simulator that suddenly found itself at the top of Twitch's charts and at the center of YouTube Let's Plays. But what exactly made Phasmophobia rise above the saturated pile of horror games chasing the next viral moment? Was it the gameplay, the timing, or something more intangible, an eerie synergy of online culture and collective anxiety? In this video, we're diving into the haunted halls of Phasmophobia's success, its mechanics, its community, and why a janky indie game made by one developer tapped into something deeper than just jump scares. Now before we start, if you're wondering why there isn't Phasmophobia gameplay in the background, I am a chicken, okay? That's why. I am a complete chicken when it comes to horror games. I cannot play them alone. So yeah, sorry about that. To understand Phasmophobia, we need to first acknowledge what it is. A game that on paper probably shouldn't work. Developed by British solo dev D-Nighter, just 22 at the time, it's a Unity-based multiplayer experience where players step into the shoes of amateur ghost hunters, investigating haunted locations. The gameplay is deceptively simple. You grab your ghost hunting equipment, thermometers, EMF readers, spirit boxes, crucifixes, etc., and simply explore the locations ranging from suburban houses to abandoned asylums. Your job is to gather enough evidence to identify the type of ghost before it kills you. It sounds like a basic loop, and in many ways, it is. The animations are pretty stiff, and the graphics serviceable, but far from cutting edge. And the UI sometimes feels like it's held together with duct tape and hope. Yet the game's flaws are part of its charm. There's a rawness to Phasmophobia that makes it feel quite genuine. It doesn't try to mask its indie roots, instead it leans into them, offering a uniquely creepy atmosphere that manages to be immersive in spite of, or perhaps because of, its limitations. For me personally, a big thing that makes Phasmophobia quite creepy is the fact that you're quite slow in the game, you have stamina, and the odds of you getting stuck on some corner when you're running for your life is quite high. And that makes it so much more creepy when you're running for your life because you know there are so many risks. The secret weapon of Phasmophobia isn't just in its jump scares and its visuals, it's the atmosphere. The game is quiet, sometimes oppressively so. It trades the bombastic, gore-heavy style of mainstream horror for something a bit slower, something more psychological. You're never quite sure what's going to happen, and the game thrives on that ambiguity. Much of its tension comes from its audio design. Phasmophobia makes extensive use of directional sound and proximity chat, meaning your voice can attract the ghost. Players whispering in fear, screaming during hunts, or nervously reading ghost names into a spirit box, it all contributes to an experience that's both social and terrifying. The sound of a creaking door, the flicker of a light, the breath of a ghost on your neck, these are the kinds of moments that YouTubers and streamers live for, and they were all over Phasmophobia during its peak. Just reading and writing this felt so creepy because I've experienced that thing in the game when the ghost is like breathing on your neck or whispering in your ear, and it gives me the shivers, man. It gives me the shivers. You can't talk about Phasmophobia's rise without talking about timing. Released in 2020, the game dropped in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. People were stuck indoors, craving social interaction and desperate for distractions. Zoom calls and Discord servers were the new living rooms, and Phasmophobia offered the perfect virtual sleepover activity. It was a game where you could play with friends, one that encouraged communication, teamwork, and importantly, screaming together in fear. In a time of social isolation, Phasmophobia provided a kind of digital campfire, something both communal and cathartic. And streamers took notice. Content creators like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and XQC helped catapult the game into massive visibility.
I'm leaving. The door's straight up locked. Yeah.
Their chaotic, often hilarious sessions introduced the game to millions of viewers, many of whom bought it immediately. To replicate the experience, Twitch and YouTube became breeding grounds for Phasmophobia content, and the game exploded in popularity, seemingly overnight. What really sustained Phasmophobia beyond the initial hype was its community. From day one, the game encouraged cooperation. Players had to talk, plan, and trust each other to survive. A tight-knit, highly engaged player base. And I swear we all have that one player in our group who is the one who just sits in the van and watches our sanity drop as we're actually in the house hunting for ghosts. He will just sit in the van and be on cams and try to act like he's helping. Let me know in the comments if you guys had that one guy. Mods and Discord servers sprang up to enhance and customize the experience. Fan-made guides, tutorials, and challenges added layers of depth. People weren't just playing Phasmophobia, they were living in it, role-playing as ghost hunters, developing complex strategies, and even lore for the ghosts would eventually become a thing. This community investment helped the game avoid the fate of many other viral indie games. Where other games faded after the memes ran dry, Phasmophobia stayed relevant through updates, seasonal events, and a dev who, even though slow and quiet, continued to support and grow the game. There's something profoundly ironic about Phasmophobia's success in an age dominated by polished, corporatized horror experiences. Big budget games like Resident Evil or the Callisto Protocol can't replicate the kind of dread Phasmophobia creates. Maybe it's because they're too refined or too cinematic. Phasmophobia, with its janky animations and DIY aesthetics, feels more personal, more like a found footage horror film than a studio production, if that makes sense. It's horror for people who are tired of being handheld. The game doesn't tell you what to do, doesn't point you in the right direction, doesn't really coddle you with checkpoints and autosaves, it just throws you into the dark and wishes you luck. And that's exactly what people wanted, especially at this time. In a gaming landscape increasingly defined by monetization strategies and focused group-tested design, Phasmophobia is a refreshing anomaly, a reminder that sometimes all you need to scare someone is a creaky floorboard with well-timed whispers. Of course, the challenge for any indie darling is sustainability. Interest in Phasmophobia has waxed and waned over the past couple of years. It's no longer the top game on Twitch, and many of the biggest streamers have moved on, but the game still maintains a strong player base and continues to receive updates that expand and refine its mechanics. The dev team has since grown from a one-man operation to a small studio, Kinetic Games, which now works on more ambitious content, including new maps, ghost types, and overhauls to core systems like sanity and progression. Whether or not Phasmophobia ever recaptures the lightning in a bottle moment of 2020 is uncertain, but in many ways it doesn't need to. It already did what so few games ever manage. It became a moment, a vibe, a virtual campfire tale shared by millions during one of the strangest, most isolating periods in modern history. At its core, Phasmophobia is about fear, the fear of the unknown, of being watched, of being alone, but it's also about the human need to connect, even in the darkest of places. In giving us ghosts to hunt, it also gave us each other, and nothing fills me with more relief than hearing my teammate's voice after a hunting. And maybe that's the real reason why Phasmophobia succeeded. Not because it was the scariest game or the most technically impressive, but because it reminded us that horror, like laughter, is best shared. And that was the story of Phasmophobia. A game made by one guy in the middle of a pandemic that ended up becoming the ultimate ghost story, one we all got to be a part of. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more from me, and it helps me out greatly. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. See ya.